Hey, hey, besties, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Bon Voyage Besties, your go to podcast for all things travel. Today, we are joined by a super amazing guest, Annmarie, who is a New York City based on camera host, a travel journalist, and a content creator who has explored more than 35 countries. Her work has been featured in Business Insider, Matador Network, and 1202 magazine, where she shares immersive travel stories and tips with a focus on solo travel and meaningful local experiences, which, as you know, Rosa and I absolutely love. And in today's episode, we're going to dive into a topic that's a bit interesting because it's a very famous city, one that a lot of people associate with love and romance and amazing food, which is Paris. So the topic is really cool. The episode is I used to hate Paris until I learned how to experience it like a local. And I think a lot of people can actually relate to this. Paris is one of those destinations that's been really built up in people's heads. And sometimes when they go with a checklist, it can feel disappointing or fall short. I know on my own first trip to Paris, I made some major mistakes, which I'm sure we'll get into. But Annmarie is sharing how her perspective completely changed after her best friend moved to Paris and introduced her to a side of the city that travelers never really get to see. So we'll talk about how to move beyond the typical tourist checklist, discover more authentic neighborhoods, and experience Paris in a way that feels deeper, more personal, and far less cliche. So whether you've been to Paris before or if it's still on your bucket list, we really hope that this episode helps you see the city of light in a whole new way. So welcome to the show, Annmarie. We're so happy to have you today.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Y'all are so much fun. So I think we'll uncover a lot of important information about traveling in Paris. And I'm excited to hear all the things that went wrong on your trip too.
Oh my gosh, it's like a
We have like
laundry
a
list.
laundry list. It's always something fun. It's funny because I was just telling Rachel before we started recording that my first impression of Paris. So we took the train from London into Paris, and as soon as we got off the train station, I was like, "Where are we?" It was like a little sketchy, and I was like, "All right, let's see. Let me give Paris a shot." It's like we just got there. We're only like 5 minutes in, but Paris is a big city, so there's like so much to see, so much to do. But I'm not gonna lie, when I got off at the train station, I was a little like, this is a little sketchy.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like I'm from New York, and it's the same thing where like you think of New York City as this one specific area of Manhattan, but it's so much bigger and there's so much more to explore and see. So I think sometimes you just need more time, and like those first impressions can be hard because you don't know exactly like what you're getting yourself into.
I
Yeah.
totally agree, but before we get into talking about Paris, I'm a little curious. You traveled to over 38 countries. So, what first sparked your love for travel and how did it turn into a career?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, my parents are Eastern European. They were born in Slovakia. And so, for us, traveling was always really essential growing up. My dad wanted to take trips together, see the world together was something really important to him because it wasn't something he was able to do when he was younger. So, he first started traveling with me and my sister. And once I got to college, that's when my travel really expanded. I was part of a volunteer abroad program. So, every year we had a new place that we were exploring from the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador to Thailand to Sri Lanka. So we did a lot of different travels where we were exposed to really unique and beautiful cultures. And so from there, I realized how much I loved storytelling. And I felt that so many people were afraid to travel. And one of the things about my travel is I usually travel alone. I love solo traveling. And if you had asked me this maybe like 10 years ago, I would have been like, absolutely not. That's not for me. And so I really wanted to inspire other women to do the same. And I decided to turn it into a career.
That's amazing. Good for you. I was in a similar boat when I first started traveling 10 years ago. I was really nervous about it and a little unsure of myself. And now, 10 years later, I've built a brand all about solo travel, but travel far more often with friends now, which is still awesome. But sometimes I miss those solo trips where it's like I could pick whatever I wanted at any time I wanted. I could shop as long as I wanted, eat whatever I wanted. So it is really special because you can experience these places and put yourself first at the same time. But Paris was actually my second solo trip that I'd ever
Wow.
done. Yeah, my first one was to Scotland and my second one was to Paris. I speak a little bit of French. I'm not going to attempt it on the show because it's kind of bad and the Parisians are always so gracious and kind about my French, but I won't subject our listeners to that. But yeah, I think I was very prepared. Like even though I'm from New Jersey, I grew up near Philadelphia and visited big cities all the time. I definitely had an impression of Paris that was way different than the reality. My first trip there, I stayed right across the street from Gare du Nord in a hostel, and it was just like one mistake after the next. I almost got scammed like 3 times. It was absolute bonkers insanity. I got lost coming back from the Moulin Rouge at night. It was just like,
Poor baby Rachel.
yeah, baby Rachel. Baby Rachel. The struggle was definitely real with Paris, but I've been lucky to go back 2 more times and I absolutely fell in love with the city. So you said for you, Paris didn't exactly click the first time you were there. So what was your experience like?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of perspectives on this from my side. I mean, number one, I was never super interested in visiting Paris. I think I always had a really strong interest in like visiting the Middle East, Asia, like East Africa. But like to me, again, my parents are European. And yes, it sounds so silly saying this now, but like back in the day when I thought of Europe, I was like, okay, all these countries, but it didn't feel like unique or special enough. Like I just felt like the culture felt like it would hit too close to home. And so I wasn't super interested. But my first trip, we did a day trip. We were in London with my mom, me, my mom, and my sister. And so we took a day trip over to Paris. And anything that could have gone wrong went absolutely terribly wrong. We took like a fast train in. The fast train was stopped because there was a bomb warning. So we got into yeah, it was crazy. We got into the city like 3 or 4 hours late. So we only had a couple of hours to hit everything. We missed our tour bus that we were supposed to take. We tried to go up the Eiffel Tower. It started snowing when we got to the Eiffel Tower. Mind you, it was spring. It was insane. Like there had just been, this was around the time there had been that like terrorist attack in Paris. It was just a couple of months later. So we thought there's gonna be like all this extra security going up the Eiffel Tower. Nothing. So the French are very safe, but I think they're trusting people to some degree. And so it was just like all these things we were expecting that had kind of gone wrong and weren't really adding up. And so I left and also, of course, there's the stereotype of French people not being super friendly. So anyone we tried to ask for help with our limited French, it was not going anywhere. And so I was like, I hate this place. I hate the French. Like I'm never coming back. And then
You're like, good riddance.
I was like, you cannot judge a place off of one day. But this is me back like in my high school era. And I was like, this sucks. I'm never coming back. And then 2 years later, my best friend was like, I'm moving to Paris. It had always been her dream to go. And I was like, again, I hate Paris. Like it's freaking taking my best friend away from me too now. Like first it made me stressed. This other time I was like, now she's going. What is this? And so when I went to visit her, we got into a series of unfortunate situations as well. But I think I learned to love the process. And then what I love about France is I love the people.
Me
One of the
too.
things that I didn't think I would like based on my first trip around, I think the French, they're very direct, which can be helpful and not helpful at times. But at the same time, like I love to yap. The French love to yap. They love to like go back and forth and debate and banter. And that's something that I learned to really, really love and appreciate. And I have so many friends that live in France and specifically Paris now that I go back, I visit France at least once a year.
That's amazing. I love the French too. Every time I've been to France, I've been lucky enough to travel a bit outside of Paris as well. The French have been so helpful, so kind. They're funny. I always interact with the service staff at restaurants and say how much I love the food, and they're always giving me like hugs and free wine. So they are, yeah.
Wait, wine.
I've gotten hugs. I've gotten hugs.
We need the tips.
I've gotten hugs. I've gotten kisses. I've like
And they're
I
flirty.
love
The
the yeah,
French
I
are
love the French.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's funny because I think people think of, especially like French men, and they're like, the French, they're so romantic. They're so this. That is not my experience. The French, they love to flirt. They're very flirty, like fun people. But what I love about them is at their heart, like they are really like kind and compassionate people. I do feel very safe in France. I feel like there's so much culture and history and so many different communities that are represented there. I think they have a ways to go in certain respects, but I do think there's so much to love and appreciate about the French people. And yeah, they're just like, they're an interesting bunch. Like, I love to chat with them and we just like debate back and forth over like a beer or a cigarette or something. And I think that's what makes it so special.
Yeah, I love how you had like a complete 360 from your first initial experience to
I know.
Paris to now saying, I love the French.
I
It's amazing
do.
to see that.
And it's funny because I think one of the things is, especially as an American, I think traveling abroad, there are a lot of perceptions about what it means to be American. And I think the French are very direct in sharing their opinions about Americans with an American. But I think like some of them are fair. I think there are stereotypes about Americans being loud or rude. And it's funny because I also find at some points that the French can be loud and rude as well, but in a different way. And it's not in like a way that's meant to be disrespectful. I think it's just cultural. Have you ever taken the train in France? the French love to stare. Like, we don't do this in the States. Like, if you're on the train, like, people will be staring at you left and right, and it's not even in a mean way. I mean, sometimes it's in a mean way. If they don't like your outfit, I feel
Right,
like
judging.
Jet-lagged.
like, they'll have, like, little old ladies, like, pass you by and be like, "Oh la la." And then you're like, "Well, you know it's a bad thing," but also, like, you kind of ate if they said something. There's that, but I think, like, there are just all these, like, little cultural norms that you don't pick up on unless you spent more time around French people, and you come to love it. Because, like, yeah, there are things that Americans can be rude, we can be loud sometimes, but, like, we're also, like, friendly, and we can be empathetic and all of these things, and so I think I kind of learned to love the French in a way because I think they're more similar to Americans than we admit, and I think that's why so many Americans hate the French and so many French hate Americans, because I think, like, we kind of, like, mirror each other at times.
That is so funny because I have a story about this actually in Paris. So the second time I went, I was doing some shopping for my brother. I wanted to get him a gift, and I went to this men's skincare store, and I was talking to the shop owner, like, "Hey, what can I get my brother?" And the owner asked where I was visiting from, and I said New Jersey. So right away, people think New York City, which is fine. New York City's awesome. I don't have a problem with that. And he was talking to me about New York City, and this guy runs out from the back, his helper, and he was like, I have something to say about New York City. He's like, they always seem to pair New York City with London, but New York City should really be paired with Paris. We are so much more alike.
I
It should be
know.
New York and Paris, not New York and London.
No, but you're right. No, that's actually so valid. I lived in the UK for about a year, and I completely agree. Like, I thought the same thing. Like, going into it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's gonna be just like the US." Completely different.
Mhm.
I love the UK, but I was like, "Please get me home." Like, I was like, "I need to go home." The thing is because the language is the same and it's a big city again, like, a lot of the things I could do in New York, you could do in London, you could do in, like, maybe even Manchester, some of, like, the other, like, big cities, but that are still a little bit smaller, but it's like the culture is different, like, the French culture, even though it's different language, it's a lot more, like, similar to one another, so I feel that.
And I love the fact that you didn't give up on Paris, right? You had a bad experience the first time, but you're like, you know what? We're gonna give it another shot. And maybe it was a little forced because obviously your best
It
friend
was
moved over
forced,
there.
yeah.
But you still had an open mind because I think that's the biggest problem sometimes. We visit different destinations and maybe we don't have a pleasant experience, or you may be talking to like a friend or like a coworker and they kind of manifest like negativity from visiting a location. So I feel like there's nothing like that firsthand experience. And if you had a bad time, maybe give it another shot. You might be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the thing that's so important is you really can't judge a country or a city or anything based on one sole instance that you had there and one day was not enough to explore. I mean, even now, I'm like, there's still like every time I go to Paris, there's something new to see or something new to do or more to explore within France as like a greater country. But it's the same thing as like there are so many other places I've traveled to where I had a similar experience. And it's like every time you go into something, you don't know what you're going to get out of it. And I think that's the thing that's so beautiful about traveling is like the options are like unlimited. You can go back, you can re-experience, meet new people, and I think for me, the most important part of traveling is the people and the connections that I've met abroad. And I think those are so special and meaningful because the country is just the place, but the people within it are the people that like make the country kind of incredible.
I really
Yeah.
love that. And I love the perspective that you have, right? Giving the French people another shot. So, aside from that, what else started to change for you once you started to see Paris from a local lens?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just a lot more laid back than it is in New York, and I love New York. I love my lifestyle. I love that we can be like we're very like busy and on the go. And Paris people are busy too, but they enjoy their lives more if that makes sense. They're kind of like they people watch, they chill, they go out at night for like a beer, like not even like a nightclub way, more of like a we'll grab a drink and then we'll have like a glass of wine and chill and talk and I think that's really really beautiful. There's a beautiful like food scene, art scene, music scene, and everything is just a lot more accessible there than in the United States. I think it's less commercialized. And so when I go there, I feel at peace. It feels like a home away from home.
Yeah, that's really true. And I love that about Paris. So I love the cafe culture because Rosa and I were in New Jersey. We're not too far from New York City. And same, I love New York City. I always say New York City is my soul city. I love it so much. But when I'm in Paris, it's so true. You do like slow down and it's nice. Like the cafe culture, I love sitting there with a coffee or a glass of wine. I have a book with me always because that's the other thing I love about Paris. I feel like they're always reading. And it's just so nice to see in a world where we're glued on our phones, myself included. And I feel like just sitting at a cafe with my book, with a nice glass of wine, some bread and cheese, it's just like the perfect afternoon.
That
Yeah,
and
I
the
agree.
people watching.
Yeah. Yeah, people watching was new for me. I think, like I said, because in the States, it's like if you're looking at someone a little bit too long, sometimes they're like, "What are you doing?" Like, that's rude.
It
But
could be
in
scary,
France,
yeah.
it's very, very normal to almost, like, stare. I mean, not, like, for too long, but, like, you feel eyes on you at all times, I think. And I think also in the States, we're very, like, relationship focused in a way that's more like getting married and getting engaged and all these things, having babies, and that's true in France too, but they're more, like, friendship based. I think there are a lot of, like, social circles. People will go out and do things alone. It's not as common in the States. And I think in France it is. Like, it's normal for people to go to a cafe and just chill or like just meet up with their friends, even like in their 30s, late 20s, whatever. It's super, super popular and common. So I love that the culture is very much around like making friends and being friends and having even the most platonic of relationships and prioritizing those.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And it was really refreshing to see because, romantic relationships, of course, they're important, but it was refreshing to see so many people out with their friends and later in life too, like in their 30s and their 40s, just getting together with friends and hanging out. Because I do feel that way sometimes in the States. Those platonic relationships start to be deprioritized for a variety of reasons. And it was really nice to see in Paris. But going back to tourists and visiting Paris, we all talked about how our first times in Paris were a little messy, some mistakes. So, for a tourist visiting Paris for the first time, what would you suggest that they not do?
I mean, I'm not gonna suggest there's anything they shouldn't do. I think the most important thing though is not to go into it with a really intense plan. I think have a list of the top sites you want to see. My favorite thing to do when I travel is like mix touristy with non-touristy, right? If you never know if you're gonna go to Paris again, you have to do the Eiffel Tower, right? Like
Absolutely.
if I've gone 10 times, do I need to do the Eiffel Tower more than once? No, it's the same. It's always the same. But I think like hit those top sites. So Eiffel Tower, the Louvre. I always recommend like Versailles. I love Versailles, even though it's like outskirts, not really quite Paris. Like a restaurant or something that we've seen. But don't just do what TikTok tells you to do. I think there are a lot of great tips. And I think I found good restaurants and things from TikTok, found good recommendations that even like my friends who are locals are like, oh, I love this. Like we went to this place that serves like giant porn star martinis, which is my drink of choice that I discovered in France. And it's like huge. It's like the size of your head. And my friends are like, this is so touristy. I was like, let's just try it. I think it's going to be good. And we went. It was great. It's like a spot that we regularly go to now. So I think you have to take things with a grain of salt, but at the same time, be open to the experience. I think like so often I was focused on trying to like rush through an itinerary. I would get like really frustrated if something didn't go my way. And that's the worst thing to do because I think my best stories were the failures. Like they were the things that went terribly wrong, like so crazy wrong. I remember the first trip when I went to visit my friend Chanel in Paris. We were trying to get into this rooftop bar that to this day we never went to. It was like a TikTok like rooftop bar. We wanted to go so badly. It's supposed to be super nice. We've tried multiple times to go since and it just never works out. So I think we're just not meant to go. But the first time that we went, like some of her coworkers from work passed us and she didn't even really know them, but like they recognized her from her new job that she had started, and they pulled us out and they were like, do you guys want to go to another bar? Like, do you want to come with us? Like, we're going to this other place. We're like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'd been wearing like high heels, which like you should don't wear heels in Paris, guys. Like wear sneakers. Like don't do it. I want it to be cute. Like don't. It was a waste of time. The night and like we were like running up and down like every arrondissement in Paris. Like we ended up on an island in the middle of like Paris. Like one of the guys had like an apartment there. He like serenaded us until like 3 o'clock in the morning. I lost a shoe. I felt like Cinderella. It was just a whole production. And I feel like those are the best nights. And if I hadn't just been willing to like throw caution to the wind, throw the plans away, I don't think nights like that would have happened. And like they do not look like what was on my itinerary at all. Did I miss multiple sites? Yes, I did. But I have no regrets about it because I think like at some point when you travel so much, like how many cathedrals do I need to see? How many you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
unless it's a place that I'm really, really excited about, it's like there's so much more. And like just being able to live through it and have that experience to me is more important than actually hitting the checklist of everything you wanted to do.
We totally agree with that because that's definitely one of the things we've been trying to promote a little bit more. It's just like you said, you're going to go to a destination, you want to see the top sites. Like I know when I went to Paris for the first time, same thing. I wanted to see the Eiffel Tower. There were a couple of things that we were like, all right, we have to see. But then we kind of had a little bit more of a loose itinerary throughout the day and just to kind of like wander around.
Yeah.
Like my daughter, she loves like bookstores and like stationery. So we were just like wandering through the streets, seeing what we can find and just popping in and out of stores. And it was such a fun time. So I think, like you said, having that ability to kind of be able to navigate off the itinerary and just find these spontaneous moments, they make for the best stories.
Yeah, definitely. I think also if you travel alone, it's important to have like a loose plan just so you feel a sense of structure. But you need to know when you can just say like, you know what, we're throwing the itinerary away. We're just like tossing it to the wind. And like today, maybe we're gonna try something a little bit different.
Yeah, and I know for myself, being like very like type A in a planner when I travel with like my husband and daughter, it could be frustrating because I feel like I'm herding cows all the time. Like I'm like, we have to be out of the hotel at this time. We have to do this. We have to do that. And I learned that you know what, less is more because I'm stressing myself out, worrying about having to be at certain destination at certain times. Whereas when we're just wandering around having a great time, I'm more relaxed and I'm really like enjoying the space. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree that sometimes a packed itinerary is definitely not the way to go.
Yeah, it's like you're on a vacation, right? Like there are different types of trips that you take for different reasons. But especially in Paris, like you're there to like reset. You're there to travel, to enjoy. Like this shouldn't feel like a chore. And I think sometimes when you're trying too hard to hit everything, that's how it feels. But at the same time, you have to know yourself and know like what do I really want from this? What do I really want to get out of this? So I try to always vision board before a trip. Like I'll make just like a quick vision board of like aesthetic pictures or things that make me feel the way I want to feel when I'm on the trip. This way, if it's not necessarily a site or something that I'm gonna see, at least I'll know, like, what I wanna focus on while I'm on the trip.
I love the
Totally makes
idea of the
sense.
vision board. That's really cute. I've never thought about that. I know I
No.
normally like pin different things and I
Yeah.
have like on my Instagram where I save certain spots that I want to go to. But I think the vision board is definitely a cute way to also kind of like manifest some things that are going to happen
Mhm.
throughout your trip. So I really love that.
That's a really good idea. I'm ready to fire up Pinterest now. And I
It's
think that's a
good.
yeah, I used to like use it all the time. And I think especially for a city like Paris, it's really helpful because I think having been there 3 times, a mistake people make is they try to cram too much in. It's easy to do. You have the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, you have Versailles, you have Notre Dame, you have all these amazing sites. So like my first trip I did that, I felt like I was running all around the city in circles and I was just exhausted. And when I went back a second time with my good friend, he was like, "No." He's like, "You have to experience Paris by relaxing. Just put like one thing in and then just go and explore." Kind of like what you did, Rosa. Just pop in and out of the different stores, maybe hit up a cafe, and it's a lot more fun that way.
Yeah. I think it's weird though, because as Americans, it feels like we have to like optimize. You have to prioritize. Like everything has to be like, I never know. Like, and that's the thing is like, I remember when I went to see my friend Chanel in Paris, I was like, oh my gosh, like, what if I never come to Paris again? Which is already so ridiculous because it was already my second time. So, like, what are the
Right?
odds? Like, I was like 22. So, what are the odds that I'm not going to go again? Like, it doesn't, it's not like, especially like in my career, like, it's just not likely. But like, you get in that mindset sometimes where it's like, I have to do everything because what if I never come back? Like, you never know. And of course, you have to like enjoy and like do the things you want to do, but like, it's not that serious. It's really not. Like, you need to like, just live.
It's like you need to relax. You're gonna come back. But I think you're right because at least for us in the States, not that many people utilize their PTO. Like I know I work a corporate job and I have a nice like PTO package where I get like 30 days throughout the year and I maximize my PTO. I take my PTO, but I
Yeah.
know people that they do not. And like they're like either afraid because they feel like they're gonna fall behind on work or they're not gonna get the promotion. So I do agree that I think in America specifically, a lot of people have that type of mentality of not taking their time off. And when they do, they feel like they're only going to be there for a limited amount of time that they have to cram so much. But then you come back home and like you're not relaxed. You're just like burnt out and ready
You need
for
a
another
vacation on
vacation.
vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Think that's
absolutely.
why so often, like, people won't travel abroad from the States, especially people that work corporate jobs because it's like, "Oh my god, like, I just wanna sit on the beach and relax." Because, like, I don't wanna do something stressful, but you can do that. You could do something very similar in France, or you can go to, like, the south of France, you can go to Cannes, to Nice, like, there's so many really beautiful places, and it's okay, like, you can go sit on the beach, like, enjoy your PTO, like, you don't need to be running around, like, legs aching, feet falling off, like, it doesn't have to be that way.
No, I'm
Exactly.
ready to spend my whole summer like in the south of France. Now I teach, so I get summer vacations, and I'm just like, I'm ready to just like sit on the
Yes,
beach in the south of France because
as you should.
why I should just do it there. Why
Yeah,
not?
you should. What more?
Exactly.
But then
Why be in
actually
Jersey when you could be in France?
that's what
Exactly.
like, sometimes you have to ask yourself, but, like and that's where you have to optimize. Like, am I really optimizing life enough? I'm not saying optimize the trip, but am I optimizing my options right now?
I like that. I like that vibe, and that's gonna be like my new saying going into summer. Am I optimizing my life enough? Like, because what I need to do is like book more trips because we all know how that ends up. But anyway,
There's no
Paris.
such thing as too many trips.
No, but Paris, because Rosa and I are definitely going to go back at some point. I'll go back
Yeah.
a fourth time, a fifth time, a sixth time. So, what are some of your favorite non touristy neighborhoods or spots in Paris that we should check out or our listeners should check out?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love like Southwest Paris, even like on the outskirts, pushing into the next town over, which my best friend will like kill me for because she's like, don't send tourists here. But I'm like, they have some really great food, like Boulogne, like right on the edge of like Saint Denis Park. There's a really nice restaurant there where they sell like these amazing crepes. I think as soon as you leave like that center of Paris and you like venture out a little bit more, everything kind of opens up for you and it's really, really beautiful. Also, people get friendlier as soon as you leave like the center because it's like New York. If you move from like New York to like Long Island, it's like very different. So I love that. I think for arrondissements like the 12th, the 13th, the 20th are all really great. A little touristy, but not like too crazy. I love Les Marais for nightlife. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I'm gonna spell it. Les, Marais. Guys, my French is terrible despite like having gone so
I
many
love
times.
that area. I love that area.
Yeah, they're amazing for nightlife, even if you just wanna go, like, grab a drink. Also, like, have to say liquor is so cheap in France, like, it's almost like a crime not to get a glass of wine. It's like
It's like
€4.
cheaper than water
I
sometimes.
It
know.
is, it's crazy, yeah, and so I think it's really nice to relax and chill and kind of just, like, hop from, like, bar to bar or spot to spot. But, yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things to do is I really love, like, the nightlife culture in France. I think you never know what's gonna happen, and, like, a lot of times, like, just, like, the streets are lined with people and, like, you can talk to people and just, like, everyone wants to chat and, like, is very friendly. So I think that can be really fun.
I want to go back.
Ready to go back. Like I'm
Girl,
telling
I'm
you,
going in, like, a month. Y'all can come with me.
yes, we're gonna
Gosh,
crash your trip and
yes.
go with you.
Yes. I'll be like, I'm here.
I'll be like, "Let's go, guys."
We have arrived. So, similar to your experience, I know when we went to Paris, it was one of those places that I saw that everybody was going to, and I just felt like I had to go, but I never really had like the urge or desire that I'm like, I have to go to Paris. But we had some time off, so we decided we were going to go to London. We're like, let's just piggyback and do a couple of days in London and then do a few days in Paris. So, our time in Paris was like very limited. So, of course, we did the main touristy things, the Eiffel Tower, like I said, a couple of shops and whatnot, but we had a great time and a lovely experience. So we're totally are ready to go back. But what would you say are some ways that travelers can create more of a local experience, even if they don't know anyone in the city?
Yeah. I mean, if you're traveling alone, I always recommend a hostel. I will say, like, you reach a point in your life where, like, you're like, I do not want to stay at hostels anymore because they get a little bit like insane. But a lot of hostels have really nice, like, one room situations. You don't have to stay in the dorm, which can get like a single private room. And they always organize like different events and stuff for people to go out and meet one another. I also love like women only hostels. I think those are really great as well. Those are kind of my favorites. I feel super safe there. I'd also recommend just like making friends when you're out and about, like, if you're at a coffee shop, like, I feel like in the States, like, I wouldn't go out of my way to talk to people in New York, right? Like, if I'm on the train, like, I'm not gonna don't talk to people on the train in Paris, they're not gonna like that, but, like, if you're, like, in the coffee shop or, like, as long as there's not a line or anything, like, talk to the people around you, talk to the people that are, like, serving you, ask them for recommendations, like, sometimes people will be like, "Hey, like, I'm going to this place later," if they like your vibe, they'll be like, "Do you wanna come?" So just be friendly and welcoming and open to talking to people. I think that's the other thing is, like, if someone approaches me and I feel like they're a safe person, like they're kind, they're whatever, I think those are the best stories. I feel like we usually become friends and like we dance the night away together having fun. Especially with other girls. I think it's really easy, like as a woman, to like find another girl who's like maybe French or like lives in the area or who's moved there. And you can kind of chat up with them and see what the vibes are for where you can go next or what you can do for the rest of the night. Also take the train, like take public transportation. I love taking public transportation in any city that I'm in. And I think Paris has a really good network and it's pretty cheap as well. They even have the system on your phone now where you can buy your tickets before when I first started going to Paris just a couple of years ago, like pre-COVID, you had to like buy the physical tickets. Like there's so
Oh,
many things that
yeah.
are kind of
The set
backwards
of
in Paris.
10, I think. It was like a set of
Yeah,
10 of them. And I would
and
always lose them because they
were
were
you
tiny.
holding it?
Yeah.
You didn't like put it back in the screen. Like, it was
Oh my gosh, I
ridiculous.
lost so many when I first traveled there, and I was so mad. I was like, "Can you stop losing these
That was the
tickets?"
thing, and it would, like, bend, and I'd, like, have to, like, beg the attendant to let me in. I'm like, "Please, like, I swear I'm not a criminal, like, I had my ticket, but it's not working." And they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I think that's the thing also with France is, like, certain things are so backwards systematically that I'm just like, "This makes no sense." Like, This is like a digression, but this one time, my friend and I, when we were trying to go skiing in the Alps, we took a bus. Like she picked me up from the airport in Paris, and then we are going to take another bus up to the Alps. And so we tried to get on the bus, but you need to buy like special bus tickets. So we go to the bus ticket machine to buy the bus tickets, but all the machines were broken. But you can't pay with cash. So we go to the front of the bus to ask the guy, like the bus driver, like, hey, like we have cash, I have a credit card, but the machines aren't working. This is the only bus that'll get us where we need to go. Like, what do we do? And he's like, I don't know what to tell you. He's like, and
No.
He's so
To
sad.
hitchhike your way up there.
no, and I think the thing that was crazy is I was like, we should just take an Uber. Like the Uber is like 20 euros. I was like, if we split it, it's not that bad. And we're like, no, we're gonna save money. It's only 2 euros each with like the bus pass. And mind you, like literally the next stop, like the French police got on and they were checking everyone's tickets. So they were like, where's your ticket? I was like, the machine, I literally had photos. I was like, the machines are broken. And they're like, no ticket, you have to be fined. So then they fined us each like 100 euros. And then I started arguing with them. And I was like, I don't want to be a Karen. I was like, but sir, like, I swear, like, we've tried everything possible. Like, we could not pay for this. And then he accidentally charged me again. Like, he had the machine reader like over my phone. So I got charged like 200 euros. And my friend got charged 100. And I was like, this is literally the worst day ever. So then I like kept talking to them, but they didn't want to talk to us anymore. So at the next stop, they like buzzed to get off and they ran away. They literally ran away, so they didn't have to like figure out how to reimburse us because there's no way to do it in the system.
My God,
Oh
no
my
way.
God, that's horrible.
That is sad. I would be crying my eyes out.
So note to self, kids, just take the Uber.
I was infuriated. I was like, there's no way this is happening. So that's my other recommendation is if you're new to traveling in Paris, buy the ticket. Buy the ticket. Like just do it. Like they will bite you in the ass with it. Yeah, they're very
they
like,
will find
systematic
you.
with things. Yeah, so that's my recommendation. Take the train unless you can't buy the ticket. If you can't buy the ticket, take the Uber.
Yeah, it's so true. When I was there this summer, I made sure like my train tickets, and I had to buy tickets for the fast train, which is a totally different situation. You have to have a reservation. I booked those so far in advance, and I like triple checked that I had tickets downloaded on my phone. I had it emailed to myself. I had these tickets in multiple places just because I have such a fear of that, because I've heard so many horror stories of people not having the right ticket or the ticket not being validated and then getting these huge fines. And it's like, I want to waste my money on me, not on fines.
I think that's the thing. And like, I remember my friend was like, they're going to fine us. I was like, there's no way they're going to fine us. I was like, who's going to? And like, literally 5 minutes later, the police get on and we just looked at each other and I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't listen. I was like, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I think that's the thing. But also like situations like that, when you travel, you have to be like, you know what? It's okay. Like,
Yes.
I think you almost have to go into travels expecting that something like that's going to happen. And instead of like, I'm a perfectionist. I think like my family's Slovakian. It's always like, how do you prepare for a situation before like the bad thing happens? Like, you should always be prepared, always be prepared. When you're traveling, you really can't always be prepared. Like, no matter what you do, something's going to come up. You're going to miss something, either a language barrier or some sort of like cultural difference. Like, there's always something. And you have to just be okay with that. And you have to be like, you know what? This is not going to ruin the trip. This sucks. Like, we're going to figure it out. Like, we're not like, I'll call my bank or we'll figure something out. But right now, we just need to get from point A to point B. And that's one of the reasons I love traveling so much, is because it kind of makes me feel like I'm not that I'm invincible, but like I really can do anything. And I have to be like, more proud of myself for what I was able to get myself through in these situations. Because like, you know, things happen. Things just happen. And like, you really can't control them. Like, how were we supposed to control that? Was I supposed to like fix the machines? I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a handyman. Like, what? Like, that's not possible.
We totally agree. I feel like it's all about the mindset because, like you said, I mean, even for us that we're avid travelers, I make the dumbest mistakes sometimes.
Yes.
And I'm just like, how did I do that? Like, I know better. Like, I just went on
All
a
the
trip to
time.
Italy. This is probably like my 10th time going to Europe. And I forgot my portable charger and my converter. And I get there. Yeah. And I'm like, assuming they're going to have the USB-C or the USB-C port. They didn't. And I was like, I refuse to pay like 90 euros for like a crappy converter. So some way, somehow we're going to figure this out. And I managed through to spend like my 2 weeks in Europe and I survived. But like I make silly mistakes sometimes. And we always say on the podcast, if the worst thing that happens to you when you travel is that you're spending more money for something, then listen, just take it because things happen back home. So expect things to go wrong when you're traveling overseas.
Yeah, that's true. The charger thing is crazy though. That happened to me too in Ireland. Like same thing. My friend from France, like we went to visit Ireland around the holidays. And I was living in London, so the charger was different, like the one that you plug into the wall. And I wasn't like thinking about it at the time. And same thing, like everywhere we went, nobody could sell us a charger. Mind you, everyone spoke English, but everyone was like, can't help you. I don't know. I don't know. And it was like, and like my other experiences in Ireland, like everyone was so helpful. So I was just like, what the hell is happening right now? Like we must have gone 20 places trying to find a charger. And finally, we had to like ride the public bus. Their charger ports, like just the regular like charger for your phone without the wall outlet part on the buses, on the public buses. So we like rode the bus around like all night so we could charge our phone. It was ridiculous.
And it's so bad because I'm like, I refuse to spend. Like, I went to the store and it was probably like 30 or 40 euros, but it was like a cheap like charger. And I was like, I'm not spending money on like this cheap converter when I legit have like 4 converters back home. And then like, I called my husband and he's like, yeah, you left it right on the dining room table. I was like,
Oh my
of course
God.
I did.
That's
Of course
something
I
I
did.
would do.
I picked up my microphone thinking it was like my charger. And
Gosh.
yeah.
Yeah. And
So
I
it
feel
happens, kids.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. I forgot my charger one time too, and I realized at Newark Airport. And you would think they would have it there. I ran all over this damn airport and I couldn't find one. There was only like one left in like a vending machine, and it was like $50. I was like, "Are you so for real right now? You're in airport."
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like, and it's crazy because it's like the thing, like there are so many more things abroad that I need that I didn't realize they would have than I expected. But at the same time, there's also so many like basic things that I'm like, how? How do you not have this? Like, I mean, this is my last story, but when I went to Denmark.
Stories.
No, we're all here for it.
I'm still upset to this day that I spent money on this. But like I was living in London again at the same time, and I had left my deodorant like back at my hotel. I was trying to like, or at my Airbnb. I was like, I didn't want like to buy another one, but I was like, I have to. It's like I'm gonna be smelly. Like I'm gonna be here for a week. Let me know how all the deodorants in Denmark were like 20 euros, like minimum. Like I could not find anything cheap.
No.
I was like, what the actual?
We're going to go
like,
natural.
I was like, what is this? Like, I even asked like the lady, like she showed it to me. She's like, do you like it? I was like, for 20 euros, like, is it gonna make me not smell forever? Like, I was like, is like, what is this made of? I was like, for 20, and she's like, it's the cheapest one we have. I was like, that is crazy. So it's like little things where it's like try to be as prepared as you can, but at the same time, like sometimes you just have to say, it is what it is.
Trying to find deodorant in Japan was a nightmare when I ran out, so I feel that. I
Yeah.
had to mime deodorant to the people in Don Quixote for help. I was like lifting up my arms.
It's like, there we go. We're gonna figure this out one way or another. But let's go back on the rails because I feel like this is like a whole entire like episode on its own because we have stories. We have stories for days. So
Yes.
Annmarie, I know you also focus on immersive travel. So what are some simple ways people can make their trips feel more meaningful?
Definitely. Something I really love to do is, like I said, make local friends. So the hostel situation I think is really helpful. I also like to travel in a way that feels intentional. So if I wake up and I feel like, hey, I don't really want to do something touristy today, I'm a little bit tired, like maybe I'll sleep in a little bit longer. Maybe I'll journal a little bit. I think that's really important to me too, is like really like listening to myself and not feeling like I have to do what everyone else is saying I have to do when I travel, right? Like if you're spending a lot of money on a trip, you feel like you have to go above and beyond to hit everything, to do everything, but you really don't. And I think like when I tried to act and travel in that way, I left feeling unhappy and really depleted. I feel like for me, I know it's a good trip when I leave feeling excited to go back to life, like life back home, because I feel like more energized and ready to like hit that next milestone. And for me, travel has always been a way to reset. Something else that I really love is my little sister got me a travel journal. So in it, you can put like your top 5 memories from every trip that you have. You put the dates that you went on the trip. And you put like why, like the reason for the trip. And it's kind of just like you do a full page journaling session to 2 pages after each trip. So I really, really love to do that when I finish a trip because it just makes me sit down, especially as I'm getting older. Like I travel for different reasons now. And sometimes like every trip has a different purpose. So when I go to Europe this summer, I'll go to see my friend for the first half because she's having a baby. And for the second half, like I'll go to party. Like I'm going to go to Ibiza. It's going to be Euro summer. I'm going to have fun with my little sister. I have other trips where I go for work. Like it's my job. I'm writing an article. I'm there to do something specific. I have content trips where I'm going to shoot. I'm going to take pictures. And so like to constantly like change that mindset can be really difficult. So I love having the time to sit down and ask myself, like, what do I want to get out of this trip? And was that successful? And not in the sense where it's like I had to optimize everything. Like on this one trip, I had to like see friends, see family, take pictures, write art. Like it can be so much. So you have to like really separate those different identities. And so journaling is really, really big for me. And I love having it all in one place. It's kind of like the most beautiful thing to like look back and be like, oh my gosh, I remember like this last trip when I went to Greece and all these crazy things that happened and like this one moment that meant a lot to me. So I love to do that as well. Yeah, and I'd say like just making I really love the vision board before you travel as well. I think that can be really helpful because it kind of just makes you realize what you want to get out of it. And then also if you're traveling with friends, kind of having like a mindset discussion with them before. I think I have so many really good friends that I love to death, but I would never travel with them. I have other friends that like we're maybe not even as close, but like traveling together, we're very aligned in what we like out of travel and what we want to do. And so I don't mind. And then of course there's traveling with family, which is its own situation, but also like very beautiful. So I
And
think I
stressful.
and stressful. It's funny, me, my mom, my dad, and my sister, we used to travel just me, my dad, and my sister. My mom used to stay home with our dog because he had epilepsy. Then he passed away. Now we have another dog, but he vibes with like the community. He loves like when we leave him actually. He loves like hanging out with his friends. He's very social. So now like
Aw.
there's a difference like when we started traveling with my mom versus just with my dad. The four of us, like we all have completely different personalities. We want to do completely different things. My mom wants to shop. My sister wants to do this. I want to take photos. Like it's just like a lot of personalities. So I think before you get on that trip, sitting down and being like, hey, what are your priorities? What are the top three things you want to hit from this? What are the top three things you want to do as a family? Like, what do you want to do? I think having that conversation is really important so you don't leave feeling disappointed.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's a good way to kind of approach it because, like you said, same for me. It's funny because, like, Rachel and I kind of switch roles. Whereas I used to travel a lot with, like, my friends, and now I do a little bit more solo trips. So my daughter's in college, whereas a lot of my close friends, they have, like, toddlers and like young kids at home, so they don't have the same flexibility that I do. So now I'm just like with that mindset that I'm just like, you know what, there's no one else to go with. And honestly, like, I kind of enjoy going by myself to places that I'm just like, now I'm spoiled because solo travel, it's like a whole different experience. And I also feel like I come out of my shell a little bit more because
It's
when I
the best.
so I was like, don't tell Michael and Samantha.
Don't
But
tell my friends.
I feel like I come out of my shell much more when I'm by
Yeah.
myself because when I'm with friends or with like my family, like I feel like I'm in this little bubble and like inner circle. So I'm not really socializing as much or getting to like meet other
Yeah.
people. Whereas when I travel by myself, I'm like a complete social butterfly and I make friends and I'm talking to anyone and everyone. And I come back home and they're just like, are you sure that was you? And
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a whole different like perspective, and I truly, truly enjoy it.
Yeah. I think when you solo travel, you get a little bit spoiled. And that's why people are always like, don't you get lonely? And I'm like, I mean, every so
No,
often, like,
it is the
every so
best
often, I'm
thing.
like, oh, like maybe if my friend was here, like I'll call my dad. I'll be like, look at this beautiful thing. Then I hang up and I'm like, now I can go on with my day, like do whatever I want. And so I think like that's the thing is like you get so spoiled. And then like after it was actually like, because I had solo traveled for so long, when I started doing trips with friends again, it was actually kind of difficult for me at first because I was like, oh, I have
Same
to like
here.
to other people, which I do in my normal life, but for travel, it's like I was kind of getting selfish. So it was like, oh, I have to like ask my friends what they want to do. And like I can't take an hour taking photos here if I want to, or like sitting here and journaling. It's kind of weird. But I think on that note, I also say like if you are traveling with friends and you want to meet other people, kind of just go into it with an open mind. I think that's something that's really important for me is sometimes I go in and I'm like I can be a little bit closed off to other people. And when I'm alone, I have to be open to other people because I mean, you're not gonna be 100% alone at all times. You have to be, like, very aware and, like, know who's around you and whatnot. I think going into something with an open mind and not having any expectations is really important, which can be hard. Like, when you especially for, like, a Euro summer trip, like, you have all these ideas, like, "I want it to be great, and I want it to be, like, legendary and spectacular." But when I put so much pressure on things, it always is a disaster. So you kind of just have to go into it with your friends and, like, all of you have to just be like, "You know what? We're here together. Whatever happens, happens. We're here to have fun, and I don't know what that looks like, but it's gonna be amazing no matter what happens."
Yeah. Yeah, we did that in
Definitely.
Paris and in Crete. And the trip in Paris, it turned out to be great. I've done 2 trips to Paris with friends, and that's like what it was. It got to the point where it's like, you know what, we're here, let's walk around, let's just vibe and enjoy the city. And it turned out to be great because I was kind of the same way with solo traveling so much. I got to be a bit of a control freak, and it's like, well, I want to do
Yeah.
this and I want to do that. And learning to share was definitely an experience, but I think I'm better at it now for sure.
It's
You're a
all a
great
learning
travel
curve.
buddy.
Thank you. So are you. So are you. So, Anne-Marie, you've also been featured in major publications, which is awesome. That's something I really admire. I love to write. An English teacher, anyone who gets published, I'm just like googly eyed and think it's amazing. So, how do you balance storytelling with practical travel advice for your audience? Because I'm still kind of old school and I'll read through travel magazines to get advice for trips because sometimes I love social media too, but sometimes it's just a lot of noise and I would like to sometimes go to a publication to get those tips. So, how do you do that balancing act?
Yeah, I think it can be hard because I write, but I also do content. And so sometimes it feels like they're the same and sometimes they're not. I think for me, when I write, it's really important for me to tell stories. So I'll tell you my experience and I'll tell you what I would do differently, but I'm not going to tell you exactly like, hey, this is the best restaurant. This is the best this is whatever. It's like, I went to this restaurant. This was my experience. Was it the best? Was it the worst? I'm not 100% sure, but this is what I kind of learned from it. And I think that's what I love about storytelling. I write for Business Insider and for Matador. And any story I've told, it's kind of like I kind of approach things from the lens of I thought it was going to go perfectly and this is everything that went wrong. And it wasn't necessarily about like the restaurant or the place or this. It was just about like my mindset in that location. And so that's really important for me. I also do like travel roundups where I do reviews for hotels and different country like tourism boards and whatnot. And that's a different type of storytelling because that's more like judging. I feel like I have to like come into it with like a very critical lens and ask like if I was spending money on this or doing something like is this like a good experience in my opinion? But I love travel writing because I can kind of talk about all the things that went wrong and like how much I still love traveling and what it taught me about myself. I think that's really important. And then in content, I try to do a mix of both. I try to give information because I think people want to know, like, hey, like, what's this cool thing that you did? And there's so many Instagrammable, like, fun TikToky things I've done that were cool. But like looking back, I was like, not exactly what the influencers are saying they are like online. But I'm glad I did it because it was still a really unique and cool experience. Like, I went to East Africa, I went to Tanzania, and they had like this pond where you could like swim with turtles. And like, it looks so Instagrammable online. And I was like, so fun. It was like a sanctuary. I did all my research. It was safe. And then I get there and it's like actually scary as shit because like all these turtles are everywhere and they're just like,
Did it.
Oh, you did that too?
I did not go in the water though because I was not smart and I decided to wear a green bathing suit and a turtle just like lunged at me and tried to like bite me. And then I was like, yeah, this is not happening.
They were aggressive and then like you're climbing down and I was alone, right? I mean, I had my tour guide. I was like alone and then you leave your stuff here and it's like, okay, like I'm from New York.
It's
my
a
first
lot
time
happening all at once.
What's that?
I was like, it's a lot happening all at once. I feel like it's like very like chaotic.
It was so overstimulated. And then you're like in the water and I'm like, oh, I'm so beautiful, like with the turtles. And the turtles were like biting my hands. I was like, please stop. Yeah, they were aggressive turtles. But also
My
like,
God,
yeah,
no, thank
the
you.
turtles are super aggressive.
yeah,
I'll just
that's
do
what
Zans.
like, yeah. I mean, I will
They're
say like
cute.
within their
Don't get me
natural
wrong.
habitat,
They're very cute. But
yeah, they're very cute. I was like, I can't even be mad. Like, I'm here to, like an aesthetic photo, like in their freaking pond, and they're like over here, like, get out, bitch. So
Why
like,
are you here?
yeah,
My
exactly.
house.
It makes sense, but it's like things like that where I'm like, okay, like I try to be really honest, like when I'm online or in my articles or anything that I'm doing because I think it's important. So, like, if I
and I
had a
feel
good
like you build
experience,
that trust and people know they can come to you with authentic advice.
yeah, because also like, you see creators all the time. They're like, "This is the best restaurant ever," and I'm like, "You said that like 8 times in a row. So like, which one is the best?" Like, I don't actually know. So I try to be honest, but I'm also not a mean person. So like, if I'm gonna give a bad review or something, something really bad must have happened. You know what I mean? Like, I can give critiques, but I'm never gonna be like, "Oh my god, this is the most terrible place I've ever experienced." Even though I've had some of that in Paris before, but that's another story.
Oh my gosh. We did this bus tour, my friend and I, and coming back on the bus tour, we were dropped off near the Eiffel Tower. And the tour guide, he was so funny. He was like, listen, he's like, the cafes around here, do not eat at these. It's a major tourist trap. If you eat at these, you will be sitting on the throne of Versailles and not in Versailles Palace, in your hotel bathroom. And I'm
Thank
just like,
you,
okay, I'm
Lord.
like, I'm not going to eat at any of these. My
That's
friend
a
and I looked at
visual.
each other and we're like,
That's fair, but at least he gave me the heads up. That's very, very nice of him as a
yeah.
Frenchman.
Yeah, it was really funny. And like you could tell, like I was looking, I'm like, yeah, I could tell that they're tourist traps, so we weren't gonna eat there anyway. But when he said that, I was like, oof, I'm like, I don't want to be on the throne of Versailles. I'll pass.
Yeah. I was like, I think you
Exactly.
need to know about this one.
At least you were warned. But if someone only had 48 hours in Paris, how do you recommend they spend it to get a more authentic experience of the city?
Oh wow, good question.
It's a
Okay,
tough
so
one.
Yeah, I know it's hard. I'd say Versailles, definitely do Versailles. I love like old like Marie Antoinette, like French history. So I would do Versailles. I think it's very unique. You'll get some good photos. I think you'll get a little bit of French history in there, which is really nice. I also like the opera, the Paris opera. So like the Palais Garnier is really, really beautiful. Great gift shop. You can get some really cute souvenirs. They're overpriced, but if you're into ballet, it's super cute. Also another great spot for photos. I recommend taking the train as much as possible while you're in Paris. Take an Uber if you're really running late for something or behind, but being able to like be in with local people, I think is really nice. You will probably get confused, so proceed with caution. Like there were times when I first came to Paris where I got stuck on the train because like you have to like validate your ticket on the way out, and like I couldn't get out of the station, and like it was a bit complicated, but you'll figure it out. Trust me, it's part of the fun. Definitely do some people watching at cafes. I would say speak to the people sitting around you, be open to conversation. Men will approach you, people will approach you. Like, what are you doing? You're all alone. They'll speak to you in French, and then you'll be like, I don't speak French. And then if they're interested, they'll speak to you in English because most French people speak incredible English. But always try to lead. Always try to lead with like a bonjour, a bonsoir, like ça va, like learn a little bit of basics. But like if you give them a little something, it's usually good. If you show some respect, I think it's fine. And
Yeah.
then I would end the night. I would end the night with a sunset at Sacre Coeur at Montmort. At Montmartre, I think it's really beautiful. Like you'll have like the sun setting. There's usually live music. We'll be having like little dance offs and stuff and skateboarding around. Bring like a pizza or a croissant or a crepe or something, and get a bottle of wine because you can drink outside, and it'll be the perfect way to end the 48 hours.
It sounds so romantic. Like I'm ready
No, I
to
want
book
to
this.
go
Like
back. I
we're
love
gonna be joining you on
Paris.
this trip to Paris,
I
Anne
love
Marie.
Paris. I love
You're more than
Paris.
welcome. It's gonna be a groupie fair.
Like, reminiscing so much. And yeah, like as someone again who speaks a little French, not very well, I totally agree with just learning that little bit. It makes such a big difference. The bonjour, the bonsoir. I remember one night I was out with my friend and I dropped a fork on the floor and the waiter came over and I was like, "Je suis désolé," and he like stopped and he was like, "You speak French?" And he got so excited. He was so happy. And I was like, petit peu, like not well. I'm like, don't too excite it now.
You're
And
like,
you
calm
give a
down,
little
calm
bit, all
down.
of a sudden they're like yapping in French, and I'm like, oh
Yes.
no.
Oh yes. Then they start going real fast, and I'm like, oh no. I'm like, we're talking 2-year-old French, not
Mhm.
20-year-old French.
I know exactly. And then I'm like apologizing. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but like I got 4 words, and that's all I have in the bank. Like that's all we got.
Oh yes, we'll be joining you on the trip for sure. So what do you say, Rosa? Time for a rapid fire round?
Let's do it. Are you ready, Anne Marie?
Hmm.
All right. So, would you rather explore Paris with a strict tourist itinerary and hit every major landmark, or wander with no plans and discover the hidden local spot?
I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but completely wander with no plan.
Yes.
I love it. Just, get
Yes.
lost in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would totally
exactly.
do that. When I go back for a fourth time, because it'll happen, I'm just gonna go with no itinerary. Like obviously I'll book hotels, but then just
Yeah.
just
I
roam.
Yeah,
always book restaurants. Like, I want to
Yeah,
eat
same.
good. So, I need to know where I'm eating. Everything
that's
else, it can
different.
fall into place.
Yeah, if you're hangry on a trip, that's bad. You do not
Yeah.
want to be
Not
hungry and
me. Yeah.
No, no, no. Take a food tour. My friend and I did the no diet food tour in Paris and it was amazing. So whenever you're hungry, get on a food tour. It's
I
awesome.
love that. But
All
yeah,
right. So, would you rather always travel solo and fully control your experience or always travel with a local guide who shows you the real side of every destination?
wow, that's a hard one. I'm gonna say a local guide, but I'm gonna assume they're my friend. Like I didn't hire him, right? Like the in my mind, we're like I made a friend with this guy, and he's become my guide.
You know what? Sure. Because that's always the
Yeah. Why
best
not?
experience. Like, that's happened to me where I've made friends traveling solo and then we meet later, like in their home country, and they take me around and it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Would you rather spend a week in Paris only eating at famous viral restaurants or only eating at small neighborhood cafes no tourists know about?
Small neighborhood cafes, and I'd like to put like 2 of them on the map just for street cred, but not all of them, just 2, because then I would get canceled. Everyone would be like, how could you share this?"
Stop giving away
Exactly.
all our secrets.
I mean, it's fair. Like, could
We'll
you
keep
like
them to
try like
ourselves.
have your favorite like bodega or something, and then all of a sudden the influencer's like, "This has the best bacon, egg, and cheese," and it's like there's a
God.
It's gonna drive up costs. So, like, no, no, no. Some places need
No.
to stay hidden.
New Jersey's expensive enough already.
I loved it though. Well, thank you so much, Anne Marie, for being on the show today. So, before we sign off, if you had to tell our listeners one advice before visiting Paris, what would that be?
go to Paris, live your best Parisian life, make friends, eat, dance, drink, and just go in with no expectations whatsoever. Maybe hit a couple of things on your itinerary, but really just go in with an open mind and you're going to love it.
I love that. Yeah, it's so true. Go in, have fun, enjoy it. I know I'm going to do it for a fourth time.
Exactly. We're always ready to book a trip, as you can tell. It doesn't take much to persuade us.
No, no, no. The money
And
will come back.
exactly. And on that note, thank you so much for tuning in, besties. We loved having Annmarie on the show today. In this episode, we explored a topic that might surprise you. I used to hate Paris until I learned how to experience it like a local. Annmarie shared how her entire perspective shifted after her best friend moved to the city and introduced her to a version of Paris most travelers never get to see. We talked about how to move beyond the usual tourist checklist, find more authentic neighborhoods, and experience Paris in a way that feels deeper, more personal, and a lot less cliche. So, whether Paris is already on your list or still a dream destination, we hope this episode inspired you to see the City of Light in a whole new way. I know Rachel and I are definitely ready to make another trip over there. So, thank you so much, Annmarie, for inspiring us to go back. So, if you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share the episode with your fellow travel besties. Until next time, bon voyage, besties.
Oh my
See
gosh,
you in Paris.
besties. Let's go to
Love
Paris.
you.
Au revoir. Bonjour.